Secretary Kerry says Assad forces continuing to barrel bomb civilians shows the Syrian government's pursuit of a military solution to more than 3 years of violence.
And I regret to say they are doing so with increased support from Iran, from Hezbollah, and from Russia. Russia needs to be a part of the solution and not be contributing so many more weapons and so much more aid that they're in fact enabling Assad to double down.
Efforts by international mediator Lakhdar Brahimi to find a political solution to the violence have so far failed in part, Kerry says, because Russia is not doing enough to support these talks in Geneva.
Russia, on several occasions, has stood up publicly with me or in other places and said they are committed to that transition government, to the Geneva Communique and Geneva I. And yet, we have not seen the kind of effort to create the dynamic by which that can be achieved.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov says it's opposition supporters, among them the United States, who are delaying progress by focusing unrealistically on forcing President Assad from power.
When all who have backed the opposition taking part in this process urge to make the implementation of the Geneva Communique in all its entirety a subject of the talks, they in fact had in mind one thing only: regime change.
Unable to accomplish that, Lavrov says, opposition backers are stalling.
Under many different pretexts, there are attempts to derail the Geneva peace talks. Initially, they wanted to derail the peace settlement on the chemical weapons issue. When that failed, they started trying to politicize the issue of the humanitarian crisis.
Opposition leader Ahmed Jarba is trying to increase his standing among rebel fighters inside Syria, but the fractious groups behind him are divided over potential power sharing with members of the Assad government, says U.S. Institute of Peace analyst Steve Heidemann.
The coalition itself does not have the kind of legitimacy that I think would permit it to speak on behalf of all groups which oppose the Assad regime.
Assad supporters see little reason to negotiate in Geneva, as they believe government forces now have a military advantage over the rebellion.
We do not count on Geneva, but we stand by the Syrian leadership with anything they want to do.
Neither the government nor its opponents have yet agreed to return to peace talks. In this recess, Kerry says the international community must determine how best to find a political solution to the violence. And he says greater cooperation from Russia will be key. Scott Stearns, VOA News, Jakarta.